This unit has been designed for a 4-5-6 class, with student abilities ranging from below average to one gifted student, particularly in the area of science. This class also has 2 Indigenous students who have English as a second language. Students at Sandy Plains State School receive 3 65-minute science lessons a week in the afternoons. This unit, Help Me If You Can, is a science unit based on living things and their life cycles, and the effect that humans can have, both positive and negative, on those. In order to encourage student engagement and promote higher order thinking, this unit operates as assessment for learning in an ongoing inquiry-style unit of study. Students are required to use scientific, inquiry-based investigations and research to complete and create a project as evidence of their new learnings. This sequence of lessons will demonstrate how students will work both collaboratively and individually to create deep understandings and then further those understandings to create a complete work for viewing at the Science Evening fundraiser run by the school. I have chosen to use varying teaching strategies, but there are 3 core to the success of this unit. I have chosen not to utilise the C2C as that didn't fit in with the different assessment strategy I wanted to focus on. Wiggins and McTighe discussed the idea of using assessment for learning, and to do this I've utilised a project inquiry-based assessment. There are 2 solid advantages to this. The first of which is the way that we can build that project, build the students' knowledge as we build each lesson. In this regard, it also adds to the engagement level of students, as they can both self-pace as they build and be guided depending on their own personal requirements. And this brings us to the second advantage, which is the ability to allow for a larger range of choice. Students can choose both how they research as well as how they present the final elements of their project, with many options on offer. This allows equity not often available in many assessment options, as well as the encouragement to pursue higher order questions and personal investigations. This assessment for learning allows for constant feedback and peer and self-assessment of their own progress. And this allows for gaps in understanding to be picked up and rectified along the way, rather than at the end when students may perhaps be no longer interested in understanding errors that they've made. This type of inquiry still allows for explicit instruction when and where necessary, and encourages students pursuing their own levels of understanding. It means all levels can be catered for without segmenting the class. Although the class is sometimes broken into year levels, the project is open enough that all students are striving for the same goals and will limit themselves only by their own opinions. The promise of accountability of their project being on display at the science fundraiser will further encourage engagement. Students will know that community members will be there to help raise funds for their iPads, meaning their project has to stand up. It will be seen by parents, friends, the wider community, as well as other students. The second strategy is a focus on collaboration. In all lessons, there are elements of some form of group collaboration. This has several purposes. The first is that science naturally seeks out collaboration. The Australian curriculum rationale states that science is by nature a dynamic, collaborative and creative human endeavour, making it ideal to be taught in a collaborative environment. The use of collaboration as a strategy allows students to work through their own levels of understanding whilst growing and providing further learning for each other. As long as a teacher is around to correct misconceptions that may arise, this method can prove to be more deeply engaging than explicit teaching alone. Depending on the lesson and the content, I have chosen to use varied size groups as well as varying academic levels and grade levels within this group. Instead of differentiating students into levels specifically, other options have been utilised, and this will be discussed further. Instead of levels, students will often be grouped as per subject or interest basis. This, therefore, will intrinsically motivate learning and discussion. Interest breeds motivation, as suggested by Ken Robinson, and something key to this unit. Although some of the collaboration is done in peer groups, some is done in whole class scenarios with a teacher or volunteer to head the conversation. To allow these to be successful, students must be well versed in habits of discussion. These themselves are fostered throughout their school years in all subjects, right from the beginning. Neil Mercer discusses how vital practice of these collaboration skills are for students both within school and out. The final specific strategy I would like to point out is the use of structure and goal setting. Ensuring every lesson begins and ends in a similar way allows students to settle into that structure. Explaining what we are learning and why it is critical for students also helps with engagement, which in turn helps to minimise behaviour issues. For students with English as a second language or those who may struggle with day-to-day, a similar structure can assist with making them more comfortable. And a comfortable learning environment can encourage students to then take their risks out using learning styles and embrace the other's opinions. Within this structure, each lesson also has set goals. All students are made well aware that they are working towards the production of a final product, but by setting incremental goals, students can be given timely feedback and, if needed, scaffolding in more or one areas. Challenging, targeted questioning to help those reach their independent goals can also be done for the higher achievers. Joe Hoffman concluded that the utilisation of a wide range of strategies such as these helps in meeting the wide range of diverse needs within a multi-age classroom. These strategies all have a strong focus on allowing for adaptations to help encourage inclusion. Rather than differentiate in a traditional manner, this unit itself has been designed to wholly and completely give students equitable opportunities for success. Firstly, the inclusion of real and relevant life elements will allow students to utilise some of their outside school knowledge and build from there. Students come to school with such vast, often underutilised outside knowledge, and this unit aims to incorporate this. There is also a heavy focus on the utilisation of cultural elements. Whilst this will hopefully assist the two students whom identify as Indigenous, it is also an important thing for all to gain cultural understandings and respect. Furthermore to this, cultural understandings are focused on utilising the 8 ways to develop Indigenous cultural competence, learning strategies that can assist with all students, with much of this unit being hands-on and story sharing, as well as an increased importance placed on land and community links. This ties in nicely with the second focus of utilising an understanding of Gardner's theory of learning and different types of learners that are in every room. As mentioned earlier, this is partly provided by the use of various research options, including visual, written, and also the choice in project presentation. Again, students may choose to make, record, build, write, utilise ICT, or even act out their project if wanted. In accordance with this belief of students needing a variety of learning styles, visual as well as spoken directions are a must in this room. Lisa Rogers suggests applying visual cues can assist all students, from the struggling to those excelling. All lessons will have goals and structures spoken and visually displayed, so learners can absorb the information in their own time. As mentioned, the key to ensuring equity for all is the project-based assessment part. Students who require scaffolding will utilise questions from the lower end of Bloom's taxonomy to guide the information they collect. For example, they may only describe the life cycle of an organism, with perhaps a mention of some changes and some reasons. However, students who excel can allow themselves to create a call to action to community members to create positive change to an organism's life, habitat, or life cycle. This brings us to the evaluation of the resources I've chosen to use. There is the inclusion of several YouTube videos, some sourced from Landline, Scootle, and some from ABC Splash. These videos are utilised to introduce inspiration for the group collaboration. The videos contain only accurate information, but often not too much of it, so as to allow students to build on the information themselves. Videos are all aimed at the age group in the room, with nothing spoken down to them and nothing too far above them, or at least not too far above that they can't generate questions. As mentioned, spoken structure and goals will be provided as visuals, as well as timers and sound monitors displayed during group works or discussions. Computers are available for use, and students will be reminded of the rules that apply when utilising these as resources. The use of hands-on materials, poster, craft objects, diorama items, as well as writing and recording materials are in use in the classroom quite regularly, and students know where and how to access them and the rules that apply. Research resources will be checked by the teacher and will be accumulated from libraries and community members throughout. Most importantly are the human resources I've chosen to utilise. Through Kath, our Indigenous education worker, I was able to line up an Aboriginal elder to present for the students. She also assisted with the collaboration on what he would be presenting, including what customs and respects must be observed by myself and the students. A risk assessment of any animals or plants that may be brought in with him will be done to ensure everyone's safety as per Education Queensland guides. Finally, the other resource in our community, full of farmers. Bringing them in as a resource helps give relevance and realism to the subject of effects humans can have on living organisms, and with the drought's prevalence, something that all students have some level of connection to. All volunteers will have meetings with myself prior to their presentations to ensure suitable aims are met so that students can get the most out of the activities. As you can see, this unit has been designed to utilise strategies and resources to create an equitable learning experience for all, scaffolding those who need it and challenging those who can, allowing specific direct teaching to those who require it, and higher order creative allowances for those that strive. The collaborative nature and availability of resources will cater for all the different learners and help them to achieve at their very best levels. The use of community and cultural members and content help the work to be engaging and relevant to students, and the fact that they can show it all off at the end means that students will strive to achieve their best, and that's all that we can ask for.